Hello, and welcome to the 25th episode of Last Attempt, a World of Warcraft Guildcast. I'm your host, Squirrelthug, and with us again, Templrivanho.
Hello.
This week, the WoW community got hit with one of the wildest stories in recent memory. A Blizzard employee was confirmed to have used GM tools to help players cheat in a Mythic Plus key. I believe is a plus 23. And the fallout was pretty swift. On top of that, season 1 is officially winding down. The 12.1 PTR is getting tuning passes, but as of now, is on a release candidate. BlizzCon bundles are live, and a Seattle raccoon is somehow making it to Azeroth. Let's get into our roundtable for this week. Templar, what have you been up to?
Not much this week. Aside from raiding, just been doing other things IRL, but I'm gonna get caught back up with the turbulent timeways because accidentally missed last week. But yeah, not much for this week, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. Um, yeah, I other than some of the days rating, I did level up my one of my druids, and there's like another one because I wanted to play a bear tank, so I've got one that I'm leveling up for that. Um, but the balanced druid that I had, I just needed to get some gear, and it's just really hard. I actually used the field accolades, and I completely forgot that they were warbound.
Oh, yeah.
So I already had a few on one of my other characters, and I was able to um, just buy a few really critical pieces like a weapon and then legs and a helm just because I wanted to get the 4 set right away. And, after that is pretty good. Item levels was high enough. I got into a normal Dream Rift, and, I was only at 234, but did pretty good. So I think I got a 82 parse on
Oh wow.
that, and I was in balance gear. So, because I was in a balance spec when I opened up all that gear, but and I didn't convert all of them to set pieces, but it's close enough to resto, so it like it's not exact, but it's a good enough overlap, so you can still do pretty well.
Right. That's great though.
For my item level, I got a 100 parse.
Nice.
But I mean, it was only against 57 other parses, but still, not so bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was pretty fun. Just kind of playing on like an undergeared character, and yeah, but that was pretty much it. Just trying to get that one geared up, and then leveling a bear druid to give that a shot. I mean, I hear they're getting nerfed, so who knows if that's going to be meta next season.
Yeah, that's one thing I don't really know. The only thing I could say at the very least is Prop Pally is probably going to go up. If you look at like the rankings or what is considered, good tanks, it's basically Bear Druid at S tier and everything else is below it. Um, I'm not exactly sure if that includes rating because realistically, I don't know about. I haven't really seen any bears in a raid, or at least the ones that we've had pug, weren't very good. But at the very least, for Mythic Plus, I know that Bear Druid is still considered top. But assuming the way like the prop paladin talent changes and stuff are going in, because they're taking the talents that we have, especially for the prot tree, not just for the paladin tree on the left, but for the prot tree, everything is just up, down, left, right, and changed. And one of the biggest examples is we'll be able to take Sentinel, which previously you would take either Sentinel or Avenging Wrath, and that would mean that if you take Sentinel, you get a defensive, but you wouldn't have the extra damage output. Whereas if you took Avenging Wrath, you'd get the damage output, but not the extra defensive. So now it's going to be that it's basically going to be a free talent, so you can get both.
Oh,
Now, of
nice.
course, they're making it for all classes and all specs that you don't have as much um, of a burst window as you used to. So then, all gameplay isn't like, I have to wait the 1 or 2 minutes for my cooldown to come up, then I can actually do damage. But still, it's, a heck of a rebalance, especially for prot, because it's been like this for a long, long time at this point. So my guess is, I really haven't seen the extent of talent changes on any other class, at least as far as I could see on like the Wowhead change log. So hopefully, like Prot Pally's up and the other tanks are up as well, and it'll be a little more balanced because yeah, the Bear Druid, especially going into the Aura, um, you know, being the final key that Liquid needed to defeat her is and was a thing.
Yeah, they're pretty tough. They've got a lot of uh, they've got a lot of defense. Bears have always kind of been that. Also, there've been some developer notes and blue posts that have spoken about Bear being the highest damage of all the tanks, and that's like what they want from that class and specialization. So that was an interesting thing for anyone who wasn't a bear druid. All the
Hmm.
other tanks were a little upset about that. That like that's like a take on them. But I like that, they're not homogenizing everything. There is a goal to have some level of uniqueness for each of these specializations. Um,
Yeah, definitely.
and welcome in, Val. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How about y'all?
Pretty good. What have you been up to in the last week in World of Warcraft?
PvP mostly.
Uh, Open world, arena. Oh, nice,
Everything.
nice. Have you been joining those? There's always like a group in the group finder for like open world.
Yeah, the crate farms
Yeah,
or
those I
whatever.
love those.
Yeah. Yeah, they're always fun. I've been working this week. I've been working on the Slayer's Ride, the Slayer's Duellum rep thing.
Is that the PvP thing in Voidspire or Void
Yeah.
Storm?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Nice. It's like an open world PvP kind of area, right? Like,
Yeah. Oh yeah. The moment you turn on war mode, there's like a cycle of like 6 different events that goes on while you're in war mode.
oh, that's my secret. I'm always in war mode. But that area is pretty fun. I've been there. I haven't done much, but are there some like achievements and stuff that you're hunting there?
I was mainly just hunting the rep for the guys. But I mean, yeah, there are a number of achievements out here that I've been working on too, so it's kind of helped.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of cool housing decor in there, and with the changes in 12.1 that are coming, we're gonna be able to actually save what we've built
Yeah.
and then just, start building some new things. That's probably what I'm gonna focus on a lot in 12.1. Anytime I log in,
Yeah.
I'm gonna want to build something new. I've got so many ideas now.
Yeah, I started working on I finally put in one of those daylight rooms in my house.
Oh, awesome.
And I made it a demon hunter room at the end of the day. So like there's a jumping puzzle, like I have an island in there that only a demon hunter can get up to.
Nice. Oh, what if there's
Just cuz I was bored.
No, yeah, I was like, well, maybe a hunter disengaging, but it's probably really high.
No, yeah, nope, that ain't gonna work.
Yeah, jumping puzzles. I've seen a lot of those in the community. So if anybody's ever, bored, you can definitely look for group finder things, and people will have like their like jumping puzzles and their puzzle houses and like other things in there. So I've done that a few times. That's a lot of fun, especially if you've got a house like that and you want to put it up. Definitely highly
Yeah,
suggest because people will actually join. I've never gone into one that didn't already have people in it.
yeah,
So on to the first news item for this week. We've got a story on a Blizzard employee that was eventually fired pretty quickly for cheating in a Mythic Plus key, and uh, there was an interesting way that this had rolled out. There was initially a sort of complaint on somebody who was posting on Reddit, and they were looking at these logs for a plus 23 Nexus-Point Xe'nas, and they noticed that there was a sort of like a death touch spell that was used on not only the boss, or a boss, and some of the mobs. And they had flagged that to, I guess, the community in general, and people were basically trying to get confirmation on what this could be. And there's a number of things that could cause errors, and so nobody officially wanted to say anything up front, but Blizzard did make a statement they were looking into it, and then eventually they made a statement that, given you know the way that the community logs everything, and you know the way that their own internal logging had matched up with everything, they were able to confirm, and then you know confirm twice, redundantly confirm that something was awry here. And it was actually there was an interview that somebody had actually had with one of the members of that group. They pulled them into a call, and so there's like a video. I'm sure it's on YouTube somewhere. And part of the conversation, they had said that they had finished the the Mythic Plus, killed the boss, and they still had a few percentage left. And one of the people who was in the party had a GM friend, like a World of Warcraft GM friend, like who was their friend that was just in the Discord call, and they told him like, "Hey man, help us out." And then that was it. They got their key done in time.
I will say it was
yeah,
pretty bold of the one of the group members to actually um, talk in this interview.
Yeah.
Um, um, Obviously, would have gotten caught either way, but still, it seems a bit foolish to confirm it and then Blizzard triple confirms it. But we should also note that earlier today it was confirmed by Blizzard that the participants, aside from the employee, was getting a 1 month ban for all involved. So that's good. Um, it was in the same person who did the interview. I don't know how you pronounce it exactly. It's J.B. Um, um, but he did confirm that with, I guess it was either the same player or one of the same persons involved.
That sucks. They're gonna miss the launch of 12.1 and the week after when the raids launch, or at least layer launches.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks, but this is the path they chose,
Oh yeah, yeah,
unfortunately.
definitely deserved.
Um, and this has happened before with, was it a classic raid or something? I can't remember, where there was a GM live on Twitch oh no, it was a banning. That was it. Where a streamer or a GM was, I guess, a fan of the streamer and live on Twitch had someone he was PvPing banned because the streamer was annoyed with him or something. I'd
Oh
have to look
wow.
that up.
That's crazy.
Um,
An extreme
yeah.
level of fanboy.
Yeah, especially for a GM to be fanboying over a streamer just seems very, very strange. But
Very
in either,
backwards.
yeah, but in either case, it also sucks for the employee as well. But this is just an example of not only abuse of power and their authority, but this is what they're, you know, supposed to crack down on others for. If they see cheating, they're supposed to be the ones who stop it, not become a part of it. So it kind of sucks, but at the same time, this isn't. It's a very obvious and wrong thing to do. So
Yeah, and they had their security team on it, Um,
mhm.
they were, things like this, as they had pointed out, get flagged in their system, and so, the incident, it was, I guess, probably just already in their pipeline to have taken care of this, but the community was basically redundantly confirming the findings they were already investigating. Is sort of the angle that Blizzard had taken, and given what they have and the systems that they have in place, I'm leaning towards believing them on that. So don't cheat. They will find out. You will be banned.
Yep.
Vel, did you get to see this story unfold, or did you check it out like after the fact?
I checked it out after the fact. Like I looked at the logs and stuff that they had posted, and it was just one mob. Like they killed a that freaking those dang the light whatever guys, those big dudes at the end there. Like I guess they skipped the one that's normally on the bridge, and the GM just one shot it for them.
Yeah, damn. That's I mean, it's crazy because you would think that the GM would understand, the level of power that you have in this game. Like you would also have like an insight into the security measures that they take. Like, what would you have? What would your excuse have been?
Yeah, right. Like, what are you gonna tell these people to try to get out of it? Like, what's your excuse gonna be when they ask you?
Yeah, that's a very strange turn of events in the last week or so, or actually in just the last week. This is all played out in the last 7 days, and yeah, it was just interesting that it was actually over a couple days for finding out and everyone kind of making a big deal about the logs, and then getting a response from Blizzard, and then finally the punishment and such. So. Um, yeah, just kind of watching the news as it unfolds day by day was just really funny to see something like that happen. But again, glad that they figured it out and those people are being appropriately punished. On to our second news item for the day. BlizzCon 2026 digital bundles are now live, and if you go onto the website on the shop, it's going to be front page. They really want you guys to buy this, so they are displaying it very proudly. And depending on which one of the games that you play, you can get a $30 bundle for that game specifically. And so if like you play Hearthstone, there's a $30 Hearthstone bundle, and each one of those $30 bundles, I believe, have like some overlapping items, digital bonuses that are the same with all of them. There's just a few added bonuses for the game that you specifically chose, or I guess the IP that you specifically chose. And so there's like an Overwatch one, Hearthstone, World of Warcraft, Diablo, I think even StarCraft. So you got a lot of options there. But if you buy the $50 one, which is the Ultimate Collection, you get all of that for all of the games. And I think there's a couple other things that you'll get specifically just with that one. I believe the Rabbitath is one exclusive to the $50 one, as well as the Murkatath, uh, Murloc. It's pet.
Only the Murloc is exclusive to the $50 one. The Rabbitath is part of the World
Oh,
of
so
Warcraft
you could
one.
just get any of the. Oh, that's right. That's the exclusive for the WoW bundle. Yeah. Pretty
Yeah.
cool though. Really, really nice art on that rabbit.
Mm-hmm.
A Zelatath inspired rabbit. It's actually it's really cute, and the ears are very large and very void.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I also really like the Blood Elf inspired armor set, especially the cloak is really nice.
Oh, that's right. There's transmog that comes with this. And yeah,
Yeah.
somebody had put that on. I immediately was like, okay, this I gotta go. This is definitely paladin territory.
Hmm.
I'm gonna put this on one of my paladins for sure. But the shoulders and the helm and the cloak, amazing. They look pretty awesome.
Yeah, I saw somebody randomly with the Rabbitath mount, and I was like, where did they get this at? How do I get this?
Are you planning on paying the $50 for it?
Uh, I don't know yet.
Well, I'm sure you have all the way until BlizzCon or somewhere, maybe even a little bit
Oh
after
yeah.
BlizzCon to buy it, and then I'm sure that bundle will go away. So, if anybody's thinking about this bundle, start saving up now. $15-20 a month, and by the time it comes around, because it's coming up pretty soon, September 12th and 13th, I believe.
Yeah.
And I've got a ticket, so I actually already got the $50 bundle for free. It's in my library already. I just had to connect my ticket to
Yeah.
my
Link your ticket.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so if you go to Blizzard's website, they have a link for that. If you check out Wowhead News, they've also got an article on that. So that's pretty cool. If you get a BlizzCon ticket, you get those little bonuses, and that just means that the money that I paid for my BlizzCon ticket is $50 cheaper because I just got something that was worth $50. But I also hope that I get something like in person. I don't know if they still do that.
Well, we know they used to, at least for the last BlizzCons, but it's been how many years since the last one?
Yeah, we skipped. I think we skipped a year, and we had one, and then there was like COVID where they skipped a year, and or maybe it was 2 years that we skipped. So it's been 2 years.
They skipped like 2 years.
Yeah, they skipped a year for COVID, and
They
then
didn't have one last year. I know
yeah,
that.
and then on the they had skipped another year, but they had announced on basically around in the same time that the following year, this year, we would get BlizzCon. So people were okay with another year of no BlizzCon, because it was eventually coming. So that's pretty cool, I guess, that they let us know early instead of leaving us hanging. But hopefully they don't do that going forward, right? Like every 2 years,
Hmm.
every 3 years or something. And if that's the case, I really do hope that there's something really special about this one. If, they're just like waiting in between it, a certain amount of years before they do them again. But it'll be my first
Yeah.
one, so I don't have anything to gauge it off of. So I think it's going to be pretty awesome either way. I know I really do want to be part of the opening ceremony, so I'm hoping that I get there early enough, and then I get into that stage area, so that I could get a spot there, um, for the opening
Oh
ceremony.
yeah.
That's my favorite part of BlizzCon. I think there's a lot of really cool stuff, but the the opening ceremony is just really iconic. There's something about it that's just very nostalgic for me, and I love to see it. And on to our third news item, the patch 12.1 PTR dev notes on some class fixes. There's some bug fixes for abundance and a couple other things for resto and a few other classes. We've got some interesting changes here, and the Holy Paladin tier set also got, I believe that was for season 2, right? Got some of their mana costs adjusted. There was something with the way that the set bonuses were making healing just way too efficient, and so they just, instead of doing some other kind of tuning, they just slapped onto the set bonus a 60% reduction, right? Or add a 60% mana cost increase to Holy Light. So they just made it cost more, to even out how mana efficient the bonus was making, instead of like tuning the bonus itself, which I guess maybe wasn't as easy or as straightforward. So that's kind of interesting. I don't know if you guys have seen a change like this before.
I don't think in that much, but I guess if it works, it works. I'm trying to
Yeah.
think the last time they've done something like that, and I really can't.
They probably did it that way because they want that heal to still chunk like it was, but not be used as often.
Yeah, okay.
Right,
That makes
right.
sense. They've got it at the power level that they want. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's interesting, to think about the way that they have to design these things, and when they get the feedback and when they figure out where things are at through testing. Which it's great that we've got testers going on those public test rounds and checking these things out for us. Um, but yeah, it's an interesting thing to see how they solve problems, because it's probably not so straightforward to go back and tune, I don't know, somehow make it less mana efficient.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, one of the things you might see, like if you look through PTR changes, you'll oftentimes see, like, we'll say just because I'm a propality, Shield of the Righteous is damage has the change for how it's calculated is maybe 1.5 point, or it's like 1.52678, and then that gets changed to 1.62399 or something really weird like that. Um, so it's possible it's based on what happened, like you said, with the calculations, and it just not making any sense. Trying to fix it up.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bunch of World of Warcraft game developers. They've got to have a staff full of math nerds, but I'm sure even that is it gets untenable. So I just thought that this was just a really interesting way to, and a very direct way to address the problem that it was having, instead of like a workaround, because we've seen in last season the way that certain like slight tunings for things have happened, and then we basically get adjustments all season long. And we're also in a new era, so like not only this is the first expansion under the ownership of Microsoft, right? And while Blizzard is still doing things, I mean, they just had some cuts recently, and so they're adjusting everything and pivoting, um, you know, to adjust it being in this new ecosystem. And so things are going to be different at Blizzard, and the way they do everything. And also add-ons are gone, or at least computational add-ons are gone. And so the way they design the game, damage, healing, just everything that we're doing within combat, right? Like is being overtuned and undertuned, and everything is going all over the place. So these kind of go into that. So I understand season one having sort of like tuning all the way across from beginning to end. Um, Even to the point, I think there was a rogue set bonus, two set bonus that's getting tuned down or nerfed, going into 12.1. And it makes sense because if people are still going to be wearing that gear, and somehow this doesn't fit the new paradigm of like where they're pushing, like it's just a little too strong in 12.1 with that season one gear. So it's interesting to see a season one as, armor tuning, set tuning in a 12.1 season two patch. But that's where we're at.
They do it every time. It's a slight nerf. It's just not that significant. Like the rogue, whatever bonus it is, it's a significant drop because it was doing too much. There were rogues on the PTR that were using this season set instead of the new season set because it was so broken.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's great. Oh, I love to hear it. It's funny when they find those things. I mean, Blizzard's usually really quick to fix those things, but yeah, it's just interesting because they've been working with a whole new design paradigm for this season. Season one is the first season for that, and so we've got a lot of. I mean, I think Laura is as difficult as she is because they maybe overtuned that.
Yeah, definitely. And hopefully, again, they do the nerfing a lot quicker, especially compared to this season. So, because again, they now have the information regarding what the add-ons do, how much damage, et cetera, et cetera. So hopefully the changes will be more impactful, quicker, and it's not just for the top guilds. The first, I don't know, it was more than a month.
Yeah, I mean, they have nerfed Laura drastically across this entire season, and I don't know if she has more in the pipeline. Is that still happening?
I don't think so. I think at this point, especially this time in the tier, we aren't expecting anymore.
Yeah, that's been a really interesting fight. So, but yeah, there's quite a bit of development notes for class bug fixes and class tunings and changes. Um, the something to note also is the 12.1 on the PTR. It's been labeled a release candidate now, and then we've got an official statement from Blizzard that says that we are winding down on season one and getting ready for season two. Then I believe it was on the PTR somebody had seen, or there was like maybe some data mining that had shown a date for the lair opening up on the 18th, and which is like the open world boss that we're supposed to get with the flex difficulty. It's got its own instance, and so that opening up on that date, it sort of lines up with the 11th being the launch of season two, or the launch of 12.1 and season two being like somewhere on the 17th and 18th.
Right. And that's about what I would expect as well, in terms of what they've done in the past. So everything sort of lines up perfectly.
Yeah, it pretty much all lines up because even in all the past seasons where they've done the turbulent timeways, the next season started the week after turbulent timeways ended,
Hmm.
Yeah,
and this ends on the 11th. So they'll season two starting on the 18th. Just is where it lines up with everything else right now.
yeah, it's pretty good. The everything we've got a pretty good idea. We have nothing official, so I can't say it officially. But
Yeah,
I mean, it would be crazy if it was some other date at this point. Everything
at this
points at
point,
it.
nobody would expect it.
I mean, what did they do that with the affixes, right? For Mythic Plus, like they used to have it in like a sort of rotation, and now they just randomize it. Just throwing people off.
Hmm.
Yeah. I the the Mythic Plus rotation was definitely a thing. Um, Especially for like Shadowlands and what was I forget what the tank affix was. I think it was Sanguine. There was like two of them, but the one made it so that you had to be constantly kiting and other
Yeah, I was sanguine.
yeah, and you had to constantly kite because the more hits you would take, the less percentage healing you would get. So if you had like 10 melee hits on you, that's 10% reduction in healing on you. And not fun times.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it. And there was another post that had a lot of class tunings, very specific ones. Um, just wanted to go over like a couple of them here. We've already gone over the subtlety rogue for the two piece from season one. Holy Paladins tuning for Season 2 on their 4-piece set. They got Windwalker Monk, Spinning Crane Kick, damage modifier tuned up, and both Jade Ignition and Whirling Dragon Punch are seeing damage increases. And for the Devour Demon Hunter, Reap and Eradicate spells, their power coefficients adjusted downward slightly. So there's some really specific things happening with a lot of classes. I think I saw warriors on there, druids, like almost every single class is getting some kind of attention, but the changes don't seem that drastic. I thought we were going to get like some sort of overhaul, but really it just seems to be some tunings, and then they're getting everything in line with slowing everything down for Season 2.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's just me, but it seemed like the PTR and the entire testing or even announcement of the patch was pretty quick and tested pretty quick as well. I honestly thought it was going to be a little later into August and then maybe even September, but I think what we sort of said in Raid when we were talking is they probably want to have this out before BlizzCon, just, for whatever reason. It could even be just if it's out sooner, then whatever announcement that they make will then come sooner, i.e., the next patch, because we really don't know what they're going to announce other than, we'll probably get like the cinema for the Last Titan, probably an announcement
Oh, I hope
regarding
so.
the last patch. And so yeah, that would be my guess. They're just trying to get it out earlier, um, just so they have more stuff.
Yeah, the timing lines up also for giving Race to World First some breathing room.
That's a good point. Yeah, because I don't know. Did you ever see the interview or the sort of documentary they did for the Race to World First after Liquid won?
Yeah, I did. I watched. It was only an hour, I think. So I watched that one.
Yeah. The everyone involved just kept saying, I don't know if we're going to be able to kill it, guys, because I got a airplane to catch like tomorrow. And it was basically everybody on the team, had to, they either got this done or had to go home, without being able to kill it at all.
Oh man, that's the pressure was rising. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That was a tough boss, but it was also maybe really strange to have a boss as tough as Laura right after Illyria, right?
Mhm.
Because both of them, I think, in the experience of like fighting those bosses, they're really, really amazing like experiences. Like, um, it's a good boss fight, and there's a
Yeah.
lot of like really good flavor in there, and just the way that the arena changes, and Laura actually like moves the entire raid around in several instances. Like, there's just a really cool dynamic there when you're rating and experiencing that. But I think the Illyria as the sort of penultimate boss for the season, right? Because I don't know if really, I feel like Rotmeyer's like very side, like a tangent, right?
Right.
So like it's like definitely Illyria and then Laura, and Illyria that was a cinematic experience. Like I've never felt like I was fighting a boss that cool, that powerful. And it was a little. I mean, for me, it was difficult. I remember our raid team. We really pushed that. She was pretty tough, but we're not liquid, and they downed her the first night.
Right.
I wish that one would have lasted a little bit longer, like much closer to the end of the week, so that it lined up real close with when Laura was released.
Definitely. And I mean, you know, there's going to be some, lessons that they learned, and Ian has said as much about balance and, nerfing sooner, et cetera, et cetera.
Wait, so okay, we have the raid, and then do we have a single boss raid just like in season 1? We have something similar, right? Like the setup.
If I'm being honest, I am not sure. I want to say I'd have to double check, honestly.
Yeah, I'll check on that right now so I can get some exact on that. But also something I wanted to talk about. There's the layer that's also released on the 18th at the beginning of season 1. That is the open world boss, but unlike the open world bosses that we have now, because it's instance, you can choose a difficulty, and it also includes mythic flex. So not only can we now kill a world boss on mythic difficulty, but it is also open to flex on that as well, which then also means you can run it multiple times in a week and use your currency to kind of pull off that table pretty early on, like in the first week.
Yeah, and we're also getting bonus rolls at the start of the tier, which I'm very excited about, and so good changes and excited to start when it comes out.
Do you think there's going to be a cutting edge for that mythic boss, and that they'll be part of the race for the layer?
It's just the world boss, right?
It is just a world
Yeah, that's
boss,
just a
but
world boss.
it's going to be mythic difficulty, so I don't know if they're going to give it.
I'm going to say no then, because generally speaking, a world boss is just a little bit for extra loot and stuff.
Okay, and I believe there's, so I'm looking at the Wowhead page here, and we've got 8 bosses, and ending with let me see. Actually, I believe those are, yeah, ending with Ulitech for the raid. So I'm not sure if we're gonna get a 9th one, or maybe the world boss is the 9th one. Because we had 9 in season 1, right? Including Chimeras.
Yes.
So at the very least, we're getting
Yeah.
8, and that's the lineup at least for the Venomous Abyss. So that's I don't know. I'm pretty excited about that raid when we're gonna get that.
Yeah. It's gonna be a fun one.
There was a post that for making sure to take care of certain things in season 1 before season 2 ends. This is officially from Blizzard. Beginning of it, quote, with season 2 on the horizon, now is the time to finish any remaining season 1 goals. The following feats of strength, achievements, and rewards will no longer be available once the season ends. So gather your allies, make your final push, and claim your rewards while you still can. Unquote. And it's just a number of achievements. Get the raid achievements. Also, there, for any of those guilds out there who usually wait to the end of the season to do the meta achievement, that's still going to be available like later on, but good luck getting anyone to run it later on. So definitely get your guild together to run that. Now's a good time for that, and some of these you might be able to actually get some of these feats of strength while you're at it, especially if you're overgeared and you go to normal. Yeah, it looks like we've got a lot of just Mythic Plus stuff. Let me see. The Spectral Hawk Strider. Apparently, that is. Why would that be on this list?
I don't know. That doesn't make any sense. The only thing I could think of.
It says unavailable when the
Oh,
dungeons are not in the Mythic Plus dungeon pool during midnight.
Yep.
Returns as a Mythic 0 dungeon drop in the next expansion when not in a seasonal dungeon pool.
Oh.
Yep.
So it'll come back.
So if you didn't get either of the mounts.
Yeah. So try and get those now, or just like wait till next expansion and the last Titan. That's interesting. I didn't think that would be a thing, but those are really cool mounts, and I haven't got the spectral
Same.
one yet, so I don't know. I might run some normals or something. Oh wait, it has to be on heroic, right? For the
Mythic.
oh
Yeah.
I'm gonna run some. What do I have to run? Mythic 2s is at like bare minimum. I really want to speed run some.
Oh no, you can run zeros.
Oh, awesome.
So like you just use your daily lockout, but or yeah, your daily lockout. I think it's a daily lockout.
Did they change the Mythic
No.
Zeros to daily lockout? Because we had unlimited in the
So like at
beginning
the
of the
start
season,
of the
right?
season, it's a week. Yeah. Oh, dude, I don't remember.
Oh no, they were daily lockouts at the beginning of the season, and then they changed to weekly after the start of the season.
Maybe.
They do something like that, but definitely get in there and do them if you can. If you get into like a +2, I guess, right? You can just run that over and over, but you're gonna have to find them.
Right.
Somebody's got to have a key for that. And you can, I guess, you can run whatever and try and roll your key at the end. But yeah, definitely, I don't know. I got to figure some way out to run a bunch of those dungeons because I really wanted that Spectral Hawk Strider. I thought I was gonna get it by now, but I have not.
Well, you could always be like Pathfinder and have to go through, find that trinket and run. I think he was maxed out at what, something like 150 runs.
Yeah, he did a lot of runs. He was in Windrunner Spire, right?
Mm-hmm. That's where it drops.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean I needed to go in there to get a couple things anyways, and might as well. I'll take all my alts through there. um so and yeah, we'd already talked about the release date for this coming into August 11th. So yeah, it's really interesting that basically everything points to that. We don't really have to have to guess about that. But it was the let me see, it was the Tidebound Grotto that was supposed to be releasing on the 18th. And I don't really know much about that, but it is a Naga um, boss that we're fighting. And I don't actually know what the location is for Tidebound Grotto.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Oh, so actually, one of the one of the stories we skipped over here. I need to go back to that. Our next news item in 12.0.7, we had the Val and Noctile stories where we had found some of the Legion wandering off to some of these sites and gathering power and such. We had a lot of lore that we were finding out through this, and apparently, this has sort of lined up the Janai to have more of a place in the story, or maybe even just if it's not, let's say, like Curse of Tech is a 12.1, it's an entire season of the patch, right? And we're getting story that's completely around probably Zul'Jan, Zul'Jara, the entirety of Zolaman, and where the trolls are going, and how that leads into season 3 and some of the things that we know about that. But we have things like 12.0.5 patch or a zero point 0.7 patch, and we have some smaller stories, and some of these could continue to fit in that era or that area for our story. So '07 or zero point 0.7 for this time around, we got those stories, and um, it sort of sets up these ethereals as being someone that will have to contend with at some point very soon. They're trying to basically take over these warframes that the Janai built and use them as their own bodies and put their souls inside of them. So it's they would be really formidable opponents at that point.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Glad to see the Draenei coming back into the story. More specifically, the Lightforged, because we, of course, saw them in Legion, and they've been sort of, how do I put it, not very important for a long while now since Legion, and I don't think we really got too much more story with them. So I'm hoping this expands upon it. Um, but what's really cool, and we discussed this on previous episodes, is just the fact that they even were bringing up stuff that happen in Legion, or using Legion as a way to say that, oh, the demon hunters investigated this, years ago whenever we first looted Antorus, and that's what, and the information said that it was important because of this and that reason. And it really shows how, the stories in WoW, just they don't ever really go away. And by that I mean, they're always kind of thinking 2 steps ahead in terms of what they want to tell.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess that's our answer, right? That the reason why, because in the beginning of Point 7 launching, we didn't know why Noctal and Val were important, but these two planets, or at least one of them, right, was on the path for the Janai fleeing the Legion.
Right.
And so, yeah, these these this piece of technology they've left behind. And I believe in the story, these ethereals had gotten a hold of a map. And so while they may have been thwarted here, they still have gotten a map on all the locations that the ship had gone through its entire journey. So there were many worlds because I guess it was a campaign that lasted thousands of years. I never actually really looked into how long Janai lived, but apparently, some of these Janai, I mean, they ended up connecting to a place called Ashenor. I don't want to get that wrong. Let me try and find that. Nashabor. And there's a Janai on that planet, and they were part of the Janai that got left behind. And apparently, this is like a common thing. Like, the Janai would get somewhere and they wouldn't just stay inside their ship, Like if you take a look at what is in the Burning Crusade, the zone that Oshigun is in, the crystal.
Oh, Nagrand.
Nagrand. And you see Nagrand, like they didn't just stay in there. The Janai had like moved outwards from there, and you have Alkindun off to the next zone over, right? And they had built all of that over there. And so they don't ever really like stay inside of their ship. They definitely move outwards and they build these temples and these places of power. And they're they've always been highly focused on magic, and they're very powerful creatures, and apparently they live for thousands of years. And so you can see the examples of what they can build and the kind of societies that they build right there in Migrand, right? There's that PvP zone that was right in the middle, that was across the canyons and such, right? Like that was a place that they had built as well. And so they build these grand structures in these societies, and then the Legion shows up, and then they have to run again, right? And some of those people get left behind, and some of them have to fight, and they can't flee, and they go into hiding and whatever. That happens basically just repeatedly until they found Azeroth. Because when they got here, we actually fight back. We stand our ground. We're not going anywhere. This is our home. So when the Legion shows up, we just kick their butts and send them packing. Which is, I guess, right. There was a storyline in Legion where the Janai had sort of conceded that they weren't going to try to repopulate Argus, like, take it over and clean it up or whatever, and do whatever, just because that was their home planet, right? That was the deal that was made with Sargeras. The Eridar gave up their planet, and they became the generals for the Legion and such. And so they have, I don't know if they are going to look for a different planet, or some other place, or are they just like cool with Azeroth being their home? But they're definitely cool with Azeroth being their home for now. And some of this sort of like sets up that maybe we're gonna get to see the Draenei like get their own place. Like maybe not like here on Azeroth, like there's gonna be like a really cool place that they have, like a new home planet.
Well, that would probably tie in also with, where do we go after the last Titan? If we're just going to Northrend, and we'll probably have some other areas other than Northrend, but are we going to go off planet? Are we going to go still be in Azeroth? We don't know, and my guess is that'll probably be um, where we'll see that.
Yeah, I mean, we have a map for everywhere the Legion, or yeah, well, everywhere the Draenei had gone as the Legion was chasing them, and you know, I believe that the Ethereals aren't the only ones with that map. Like basically, this force that's like chasing after them or kind of running down these leads is kind of right on their tail. And so there's an idea that we're going to also be on this campaign with them. The heroes of the story of Azeroth are usually tied pretty closely to these groups that are doing all these little side tangents and such. But I mean, for a side story, this is some pretty important stuff, especially with these Draenei from Nashabor. Like the way that they speak of Nashabor, there's a chance that that becomes like an entire zone, not just a Nagtal and Val size zone, but like a questing zone. In the same way that one of the patches we got like Koresh, right? It'd be cool to see a Nashabor zone.
Right.
The way she speaks of it, there's some like really dangerous animals, and the fauna and everything is really alien there. So, it already sounds like a really cool, really cool place to be. I mean, obviously very dangerous, but just, I mean, for heroes and such, and and especially if these ethereals and other people seeking power end up going there, along their way, that might be something we have to deal with. I just think they've set it up really, really cool, like for, I don't know, going somewhere really interesting. And I hope that we get a lot more of this instead of just like in the little side patches.
Yeah, and my guess is we will, just because it seems they're really trying to set things up for the next storyline and such.
Do you ever play Draenei, Vel? You know anything about their story?
Yeah, so it's kind of depressing how little story they've had since Legion.
That I've heard a lot of people
So
say that, yeah.
it was it was nice to see them have a little bit of, like, even if it was minor, like they had a little bit of a comeback with these two zones.
Yeah, like they were picking
And
up those Legion
it was nice
threads.
to see that. Yeah. But it'd be cool. It would be freaking awesome to see it make a whole comeback and, like, all right, we're gonna go to this planet that's inhabited by Draenei that got abandoned there.
What's interesting is we do have a quest in Void Spire. It's a small quest line where there are Draenei that I forget what they call themselves, but presumably were some of the ones left behind, and you help them take a portal to. I think they said they're something akin to like their homeland, but it's intimated more. It's like how it might not be Argus, but it also could. I'm not entirely sure. I'd have to redo the quest line to see exactly the words they said.
Yeah, they did mention that
Yeah.
in the article as well. Yeah, there was some other Draenei. They had not even spoken like the same language, right? Like they didn't even
Yep.
speak common. They were so far removed from other Draenei or whatever.
What's even sadder is like the one basically one of them had to stay there to send the rest of them through the portal. Um, and they're just kind of stuck in Void Spire now. The only thing is it didn't really say why they chose, you know, why they would choose to just go there instead of um, us being like, hey guys, we have Azeroth, we have the rest of the Draenei, why don't you guys come uh, to our planet as well?
Yeah, sort of campaign to group them all together. We can go in a lot of different ways, and there was even um, some people that were saying that there were leaks about what the story was going to be before Chris Metzen came back, and that was speculated as so because of the proposed leak, or I guess I don't know. It's unconfirmed. So because of the unconfirmed leak, people were thinking that the Black Empire was going to be the next one. Like instead of whatever this one was going to be, the next one in place of the Last Titan was going to be the Black Empire, and we were going to be able to just either maybe go back in time and the lands and everything that we fight and we move across there would just be the ones that are just completely taken over by the Black Empire, which is supposed to be like a vastly different Azeroth.
That would make sense too, because if you did the what is it, the horrific visions and such, not even necessarily the ones that you did in War Within, but going through the storyline of BFA and whenever the horrific visions start, as well as just the overall story, there is points where we actually do go to um, the Black Empire, and they do say similar things that you know that they're what they see in the future is, like, for example, us failing, us not being able to win, um different things like that. And now, of course, you can't really trust them because these are also the same people who are dealing with Zalatath and um, these other, evil beings and creatures. But um, it also ties in. This is when Zalatath, you first see her, um, um, or I guess it would be the second time because you see her technically in Legion, but she's still in Naifu. Um, but I believe it's in BFA where we first see her like physical form and sort of the Zalatath that we come to know. Um, but yeah, that would definitely make sense because it was what they were hinting at with like BFA and such.
Yeah, so like the it was the visions of Nazoth, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, and that one was really cool because like that was like a look into the like when the Black Empire was at its height of power.
Yeah, and there are, like I said, further quest lines where you do, um, I don't know what you want to call it. I think it was Nyalotha, but it was like, I think it was in the past. Come to think of it, yeah, because the idea was we went into the past, we did something, and then whenever we went to Nyalotha, come the raid, that's sort of when we, faced off more of the Black Empire and all their goons.
It's speaking of the like this like Black Empire stuff or whatever, there was some PTR things that somebody had like found, and they were like cultists, and they're sort of like tied to in some way or another like N'Zoth, and so I believe we had already destroyed N'Zoth, but there might be some kind of tie-in before this expansion is over, because we still don't exactly know what we're gonna do in season 3, where the story goes after the Curse of Vultech.
Right. And they've been very adamant in saying that it is going to hook into the story as a whole. It's not as much of a side quest as we as players seem to think it is.
Yeah, Ulatek herself is supposed. I mean, from some of the lore that we've kind of already known about this from before, and then also when Point Seven had launched, there were the you can do the time walking, I believe, right? With Lily, is it time walking or
Hmm. Uh,
lore walking?
Lore walking, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, you do the lore walking with Lily, and in going through that storyline, you find out that of the Loa that they had like sort of worshipped all these trolls, right? Ulatek was different from all the rest, and there was something about that, and there was perhaps connections between an old god, but nobody really said which one. And it's interesting that the old gods are just maybe not done with Azeroth yet. Like there's still something that they somehow they're still connected in a way. Like maybe a god like Ulatek has some enough of a old god essence to still I don't know, I guess spread their influence because that's kind of what they've always done, right? Just sown chaos.
Yeah, and we don't know what their ultimate goal is, especially because we've dealt with the Legion and the demons. They have their own goals. We've dealt with the Black Empire, and they have their own goals. And we also have I guess you'd say, the random element with Xalatath, who's realistically made both, or how do I put it? Deals with both sides, especially with the Black Empire. And we know how um, uh, Nyaloth, or not Nyalotha,
N'Zoth.
N'Zoth, yes, and how just ticked off he was whenever he went against him. So there's a lot more forces and a lot more, I don't know, backroom deals that we're not made aware of. And there's even the Ethereals who, with Salad and everything, um, you know, he predicated his whole trying to, quote unquote, save his people on that. Obviously, it wasn't actual salvation. It was, using them for her own means and all that stuff. So there's just a lot we still don't know.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot going on here. It's interesting to see all these threads being like pulled back in. We'll have to see what happens with the rest of this, but yeah, I think we definitely have some old god influences going on here, and the old gods had always worked in really long-term plans. And I mean, we've actually gotten some pretty clean old god kills, which is very interesting for us mortals just coming through and eradicating these old guys pretty efficiently. The the Titans gave that a shot, and the first and only time they did that was in Pandaria, or what is now Pandaria, and they had just torn the old god from the face of the planet, just ripped it in half, and it killed the old god absolutely entirely, but its blood spewed across the land and cursed it, which is why in Pandaria you have to control your emotions and not let it affect you because it manifests as the Shah. And so the Shah is coalescing like all that bad energy, and so you have to sort of be at peace with yourself in a throughout the land in order to keep those things away. And that sort of goes into their martial arts and all that stuff. There's really cool flavor that gave it for that story, but in the end we see that the only time the Titans tried to kill an old god, it backfired so horribly that they stopped doing that and they just started imprisoning them.
Right, which further, makes further complicates the question on, our power, their power, or even, you know, are they allowing us to defeat them? Because we know there's a lot of contention between um, all the elements. I mean, even Decimus was saying how, not all of the um, void spawn were on her side, and or Xalatath's side specifically, and they are more of a dog eat dog sort of culture. They just predicate it on whoever's strongest.
I mean, that was the story with Decimus. We had betrayed somebody that had more power than him, and using the heroes to his advantage, he was able uh, to get this thing that this more powerful Dominar wanted. And in order to get that item, in order to succeed in that campaign. Decimus was the one that was like helping us get there, and he immediately saw the opportunity that, like, oh well, if I just help you out and go along with you in helping you help this other guy, I'm just gonna help me. I'll just help me instead when the time is right. And then you guys are really powerful and you're obviously useful. Like, I could use you. So we'll make a deal. I'll give you power and you'll do cool shit for me.
Yep.
So yeah, that definitely checks out with the way that those guys like do business, and and how it's all working out with Zaltath. It's definitely, she just found some creatures that were interested in power and she could use them, and they see it as like a mutual benefit. So this is probably very loose alliance here, but she's definitely she's doing something. She's doing something sneaky, and yeah, I'm really interested to see how Ulutek ties into all of it, and perhaps there's and what old god exactly, because I think N'Zoth was supposed to be like the big bad, and perhaps because of the way that old gods work, there's a plan that is kind of rolling out, beneath us, and we don't even know.
Right.
And one other thing that I wanted to mention, I did see some news. I didn't get to put in the thing here, but there is a leak about a Dungeons and Dragons version of World of Warcraft, or a World of Warcraft version of Dungeons and Dragons. So like, you have the tabletop game, and usually when they have stuff like this, it's like it's a campaign book, so there'll be there's like this official tie-in to the Forgotten Realms, right? Or the Dragonlance series. I love those books. They're great books. I started reading them in high school, and they've got such a vast world. And I'm glad that they brought something like that into Dungeons and Dragons, because you have so much content to pull from, and it's cool because they sort of like set up these classes in in the guidebooks that you buy for that world. So like in that world, there's like these little elf people. They're like half elves, but they're really, really small. They're indistinguishable from children, basically, and they're like hobbits, but not as like sturdy or like stocky. But they like to steal shit all the time. They don't have an understanding of like personal um belongings for anything. Like, if you don't have it nailed down, they'll just walk out of their house with it. So they don't have like heirlooms in the sense that like other people do. And so there's an entire class built around getting a Kender, which is what they are, into the Dungeons and Dragons like game, right? And so you buy the guidebook and stuff, and you get this cool story, but it has like all the specifics for these classes and all this other stuff. And without you having to sort of homebrew these things up, you just have this ready to go adventure that takes care of all of that, all of those specifics. And so with an official World of Warcraft thing, we can expect that there would be very specific things for every single one of the classes, right? Demon hunters, warriors, rogues, mages, and they're going to be flavored for World of Warcraft and the spells and such, and the things that we do in the game. And they're going to be tuned up for that. I just think that's really cool. It's really interesting. You don't have to like homebrew those things anymore. And there are digital tabletop services. I know that Wizards of the Coast had their own Dungeons and Dragons thing they were working on. They've been working on, so they have a digital tabletop that they have to offer. But D20 is another one, and I'm sure there are other services. They kind of have these things sort of like set up already. So, or well, they usually do. And so, if this is an official leak and they really are partnering with Wizards of the Coast to make this, I mean, that's pretty exciting. I love Dungeons and Dragons and haven't played in a while, but I think, this could be like a sort of thing to get some of my old friends who used to play WoW to like jump into a game of D&D.
Yeah, definitely. I am kind of surprised though, because Wizards of the Coast have not been too good of guys in a while. I mean, they even were sending out the infamous and apparently still existing Pinkertons to.
Oh no, that's right. They did that. You should retell that story in case our listeners don't know, because that was shocking.
So, if memory serves, basically, I believe it was when they were trying to form a union, or at least the the workers were trying to form a union, and in order to union bust, which is what the Pinkertons were famous for, they are a, I don't know what you want to call them, not paramilitary, sort of para para aggressive, I don't know, but basically back in the day, what they you would send them as basically mafia goons in order to intimidate and um, actually, hurt people in order to force them, for example, not to unionize, or to do this or that. And apparently, they still existed, and they were using them to help threaten their own employees from unionizing. And more recently, Wizard of the Coast have still basically the employees that they have left over, because they went through layoffs and firings just like a lot of other companies, but they also had the audacity to send letters to their remaining employees, trying to force them not to unionize again. But at the very least, this time they didn't send out the Pinkertons after them. Um, but still, they haven't been a good company for a while now, and have just been, unfortunately, really sort of abusing their employees and such.
They sent the Pinkertons to somebody's house before, right? Like a streamer who had
I believe
gotten,
so. Yeah.
like, yeah, somebody had gotten. They bought the cards. They own the cards. The cards belong to them, right? Like there's no ifs ands or buts about that. But somebody in distribution made a mistake and they sent something out too early, and it was literally only like 48 hours or something early. And instead of, like, I don't know, handling it or just taking the L, they sent the Pinkertons to this dude's house to get the product back. Like, they were like, you cannot have any of this, and we're like this, yeah, we're not the police, but we're gonna act like it, and we're confiscating this. And it was just crazy to do that to your customers. And I mean, not a lot of people cared enough for their sales to dip, I guess, but it is a way that Wizard of the Coast operates.
Yeah, and it's real unfortunate. From stories that I've read, it used to be, at least this, because I don't know when exactly they got control of Dungeons and Dragons. If memory serves, um, they didn't have it originally. It was by another company, but as soon as they sort of got control of Dungeons and Dragons, is when they started turning, and they just haven't been a friendly company, and it's very sort of soul draining to work for them, apparently.
Yeah, according to a little search, Wizards of the Coast bought out TSR, and TSR was the company that had originally published the game for Gygax. And D&D continued. That was in '97, and they did that for 25 million. But they continued to publish under that TSR name until 2000, and then they dropped and switched over to Wizards of the Coast. So, I mean, they've had them just over 25 years now, almost 30 years.
Wow.
Yeah, they weren't doing really much with that, but I think recent things with people kind of bringing it back up. I think there was just a really unforeseen overlap with Dungeons and Dragons in the last few years. There was COVID, right? First of all, and then there was Stranger Things, very popular show, and it showed all these kids kind of playing through Dungeons and Dragons, and this really cool thread that they sort of like weaved from the Dungeons and Dragons game they were playing like into the story that they were living out. And so that was like a really cool overlap that a lot of people could definitely resonate with by watching that story. And then the added bonus that there were already shows of people who were streaming Dungeons and Dragons just for fun because they wanted to, and they had some streamers or some viewers, and with the added interest in Dungeons and Dragons from this new Netflix show, you now get an influx of viewers to these things, right? Like, oh, okay, well, I need more of like content that's somewhere like this, and I don't know. There's just you had like this really big influx of people being very interested in Dungeons and Dragons. I think if this is true and Wizards of the Coast gets this sort of deal, we could probably see was that Matt Mercer's show, Roll 20? No, not Roll 20.
Is it Critical Role?
Critical
Maybe?
Role. Yes. Yeah, we could perhaps see an episode or maybe even a whole season, set in this world.
That would be cool.
I mean, yeah, if Blizzard is thinking about like funding something, that would, that would definitely be something that could do well, right? You see these people doing this stuff and playing a version of Dungeons and Dragons that's tuned specifically for the game, the game world and the way that retail WoW works, and then you see these actors, these voice actors, like playing this whole play out for you, this performance, and you get really excited. And you go, I want to go in that world, and you can.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever play Dungeons and Dragons, Vel?
A long time ago.
If there was a
When I
WoW
was-
version of it, releasing, if this isn't just a rumor, would that it motivate you to try to dust off
yeah.
the skills?
I would play it again. If I had people to play with, yeah.
What is that Timmy's dad? This is where I'd put it if I had one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I feel that pain, right? Like as an adult, and all my friends are adulting. It's hard to like line up schedules with
Yeah.
everyone, but I have more and more.
All my friends have kids,
Dude,
so
yeah. Yeah. I've got a kid now, and so that makes a big difference. And like how to overlap these kinds of things, I mean, like the best shot that I have is to just get everyone, because I have a pretty good sized house. Like I just get everyone to come over to my house for like a pool day, and then get like my wife and probably their wives, because some of their wives are not into D&D, to go like play with the kids and keep them busy, and then like I can get like maybe an hour in for a real quick game. But yeah, it's hard. It's like, oh man, and then who's gonna show up? But I'm been really interested in those like digital tabletops that they sort of have. Roll 20 was pretty good. I remember playing that years ago, and I think they've gotten really good. But also there's Wizards of the Coast has started creating their own digital version of everything, right?
I want to say yes, but I'm not entirely sure. But if they haven't, I'm guessing they are.
I mean, at this point, honestly, I can go either way because I had an account on on the Wizards of the Coast, their Dungeons and Dragons, D&D Beyond. That's what it was called, and I signed up for it. But when I signed up for it, I had a cell phone, and this is like a really weird thing, right? So I didn't have a computer. I just had a cell phone, and so I wanted to play with their little D&D Beyond thing, and I wanted to use my cell phone to just have my PDF, because they didn't have that yet. They didn't have a character creator, but they had a way for you to purchase a digital version of the game, of like the player's handbook and the dungeon master's handbook and any of the other books that they sold, and you basically have this sort of, they had a roadmap, and they promised to do all these like really cool things in the future. But for right now, you could just buy like content through this account, and you'll get a digital PDF version of it. But like in the future, the bonus of that is that when they have a digital tabletop, when they have this character creator, when they have all these things, it'll just be automated and integrated into the system. And so my thought process was, if I'm going to buy something, I'll only ever have to buy it once. I'll buy it with these guys, and then when they finally have the technology to host a digital game, because some of the cool things that I remember seeing in a game, which would make a digital tabletop really important, is lighting, right, and line of sight. If I want to shoot something with an arrow, I need to know that a wall's not in the way. If I have a lantern, I shouldn't be able to see something on the other side of the wall, and vice versa, right? And so those kinds of mechanics are sort of built into these virtual tabletops, and that's the promise that Wizards of the Coast was making with D&D Beyond. I haven't touched that account in like a long time, but because I was on a cell phone and I signed up, one of the options was to sign up for the account with a Twitch account. And I was like, oh, sure, I'll do that. And then I pushed the button and I didn't have a Twitch account. So I was like, oh, well, I guess I'll just make one real quick. And I made the Twitch account with only a phone number. And then I didn't have that phone like years later, and I went back and I'd just been logging in like normal to my D&D Beyond account and like buying like a bunch of the books and all this other stuff. And then at some point I lost access to that Twitch account because I didn't have the phone number. And
Oh no.
all of those books, everything for D&D Beyond, like I don't have them anymore. So like I think there's one I can still sign into one of the. No, actually I can't. I needed the Twitch account. So yeah, I tried to recover it. I couldn't. So now I have to start over, and I can go with D&D Beyond or Roll20 or any of the other ones. But I know we got options. So I'm sure that people will be able to, if you really want to play this, you can find a virtual tabletop service that will will host it for you. Because I know Roll20 puts in a lot of work to convert all of the assets into things. Like you have to have little placeholders for all the creatures and the bosses and everything else, right? And they have to be the appropriate size. They create those. So they go through, and so when you buy the manual from them, the adventure guide, it comes with all these digital assets that you're using in their virtual tabletop. So that's always really cool to be able to buy those things from them. But also D&D Beyond offers the same thing. But if you don't want to support the Pinkertons or somebody who pays them, you can always go with Roll20, even though you're still buying the license from them anyways. You're just, I don't know, more money's going to them instead. I'm not really sure.
It's a complicated world out there, unfortunately.
Yeah, it is. You have to make your own choices. um, but on to our next news item. This one is our last one. We've got Jimothy the raccoon is coming to Azeroth. I'm sure you guys have heard about Jimothy or have seen him in the memes and videos and such. I think the lady who had named him initially said or dubbed him Jimothy because, quote, he looked like a Jimothy.
Yes.
And he's got like a little spine problem, right?
Yeah, I would love to know what exactly it is, because I've never seen a raccoon like that. And what's even it's funny too, because and this is a sort of a bad story, but more recently we had a raccoon in my parents' neighborhood who was going into their trash can, and this was more than like probably 2 months ago. Um, and it turned out a week later, we found out that that same raccoon apparently attacked one of the neighbors and
Oh man.
really tore her hand. So yeah, I'm just thinking, thinking of this raccoon um,
Being
versus
viral now.
yeah, Jimothy versus this obviously um, more rabid raccoon, and I don't think anybody has to be afraid of Jimothy attacking anybody.
No, actually, I think he's a little domesticated. Apparently, some of the people in the area had already like sort of they leave food out for him and stuff. And he's a known raccoon in the area. Like some of the neighbors around there know him. So he's sort of kind of taken care of by them, like, a little protected.
Ah, gotcha. Oops. That makes
You gonna
sense.
say something,
'cause-
Vel? Oh, sorry.
He's a protected species.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know where exactly he's at, but hopefully he stays protected and people don't bother him too much. Being famous can be hard.
Yeah.
But the way that Jimothy is coming into Azeroth is something earnable in game. Now we do see that there is a 3D model already created. It's adorable. If you've somehow missed the meme, you've somehow missed the post from Blizzard, just look up Jimothy coming to World of Warcraft or coming to Azeroth, and you'll see this sort of hunched over little raccoon. He's very orb shaped, and it's from like a spine defect. It's like it's like a much shorter spine than I guess the animal would normally have, and so he kind of crawls around with his back very hunched instead of more straight like a normal like raccoon would have. And I don't know, he kind of almost looks like a little monkey.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
But yeah, the 3D model is in. There's even an animation for it. It's been posted. And also we've got a reply saying, well, because a lot of people were sort of speculating openly in the comments that this is going to be a charity of some sort, right? This is like a perfect opportunity for Blizzard to do a charity, but this is sort of like really like Jimothy hasn't been around for very long, right?
Yeah. That means I could see that, but like you said, yeah, I've only learned about him this week, and to be fair, it was whenever it was the first day of the week on the Daily Show, and Jon Stewart mentioned him. So,
Oh, that's great. He made it to the Stewart or the
yeah,
Jon Stewart show or Daily Show, right?
yeah. So, um, for me, this is just I was just amazed at how quick of a turnaround that Blizzard um, was going with this.
You know, this feels like somebody on the art team was like, I can do that. I can do that so fast. Like
Hmm.
that's like no problem. I've got a raccoon model right here. I'll shorten the spine, I'll make some adjustments. Wham bam. Thank you, Jimothy. And I mean, and seeing that, there's like, okay, what do? You send this up the line, up the pipeline. You explain it to the old guys because I don't know that Chris Metzen is going to have TikTok. I don't know that he's going to know, what Jimothy is, and then that's going to come with a little bit of context. But then he's going to say, "Hey, go for it. Let's get that in there." I think if it was more of a long-term thing or had been around for a while, we can see it as maybe a candidate for like a charity thing, but they kind of have a schedule for when they do those every year. And they kind of like to plan those things. This feels like an opportunity to jump on the moment. And I feel like whoever whoever thought that up, whoever pushed that through, whatever, somewhere in that pipeline, somebody perhaps remembered that Blizzard has sort of always been part of the like pop culture zeitgeist.
Right. And that's something we've talked about before where, you know, it's sort of lost a bit in terms of, it's been, it's still part of the zeitgeist, but they haven't really ran ads for a long time. The ones that we do remember are for stuff like, the Mr. T commercials, etc. Now we did have like the Mountain Dew for the 20th anniversary and stuff like that, but hasn't been too much on the marketing front. But it is good to see them sort of get back at it with that.
Yeah, this seems like a really good move. This is definitely the kind of way that you get noticed within just the broader community out there. More gamers, more young people. I mean, because like, what other game has Jimothy in it, right? It's such a high resolution.
Exactly.
I mean, somebody probably made a Roblox or something version of him, or maybe like a Minecraft version of Jimothy. Maybe there's like build out there, but this is like, hey, you can have, especially if it's like a pet, like a battle pet. That would be great. Some people were like, you better give me Jimothy as a battle pet. Like he must be a warrior.
There you go.
But yeah, we do have confirmation that it is going to be earned in game. It's not going to be a shop item. It's not going to be for charity or anything like that. This will be something that we'll be able to get somehow in game. We don't know when it's coming out, but honestly, if it doesn't break anything, I know they said they were going to stop putting things in very last minute, but something like this could probably easily be in 12.1.
Look, as long as they check the houses and the elevators in Orgrimmar, I think we'll be good.
Yeah, just run it through the test first. Just run it all through the test. We don't want to skip anything like we did last time. The spaghetti code means I'm sure they're still living down. But 12.1 is going to launch pretty soon, and we're all going to forget all about that. But not like we've forgotten about that sword, because it's coming up next expansion.
I don't know what you're talking about. What sword?
The damn sword.
Yeah. What sword?
Oh man. Okay, so that about does it for us for today. Before we go, if you want to support the show, the best way is through our Patreon. Every bit helps us keep the lights on, improve the production, and keep this going every week. You can find us at patreon.com/lastattemptpod. If you can't spare the gold, that's totally fine. You can still help in a big way at no cost. You can find us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Drop a 5-star rating for us and a review. Really helps to legitimize us on there, just people seeing those comments. And the biggest thing you can do is help new listeners find us. So anybody you think that might be interested in some of the news we cover here, we can add us to their daily podcast rotation. I know I have got a weekly rotation that I've got. I run out somewhere in the middle of the week, and then I just that's the end of it for me. But I've got room. I've got room to add a couple more. And I'm sure other people do. So, definitely share us. We appreciate the sharing. You can find us on YouTube and a bunch of our other socials: Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all at Last Attempt Pod. There's always a Discord link in the description, so you can find us there. And we do have a community link, so I'll post that in the description as well. So we'll start adding that one in there. Vel, is there any plugs? Anything you want to plug before we sign off?
No,
All right, and
not for me anyway.
not yet, not yet,
No, not
but it's
yet.
coming. The day is coming. I mean, I'm getting there too, but it's gonna take some time. Maybe I'll make a big thing of it for the Last Titan. I gotta
Yeah.
send my goals further out. Give me some, less pressure.
Yeah. Yeah. I got too much going on right now.
And Templrivanho, where can these good people find you?
They can find me on my Twitch page, twitch.tv/Templrivanho. It's spelled a bit weird, but the easiest way, though, is to just type in your favorite browser, thehumandistraction.com, and it'll take you straight to my Twitch page, and that's all one word.
All right, and yep, that'll be it for today for us. And we want to thank you all for tuning in, listening to us. We really appreciate the views on YouTube and all those listens on. We've got a lot on Apple Podcasts, and a little bit on Spotify, but most of our listeners are on Apple Podcasts and YouTube. So we kind of split half and half on those. So we appreciate all of you guys. And for those YouTube listeners, we are going to get a sort of video thing going on at some point. So at least our hosts here will have our video stream and such. So we'll have something to stream for YouTube. So look forward to that. That's why we also have a Twitch page at Last Attempt Pod as well. You can find us there. So definitely follow us already if you aren't. And when we get that going, you'll be able to see us Saturdays at 4:00 record these things. And and thank you guys for coming, and appreciate y'all coming on the show with me, Templar and Vel. This has been great, as always.
Yep.
Yeah.
Glad to be here.
And that's it for us. See ya.
See ya.
Later.